Good evening, I'm Mike Marza as we take another look back at another day and what was another week of testimony in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. His most recent ex-girlfriend sobbing on the witness stand today, describing what she said were drug-fueled sex marathons, saying Combs controlled her life. The woman only testifying under the pseudonym Jane. And there has been a lot of speculation on social media about her identity. In fact, her attorney told the judge those types of posts threaten her safety. In just a moment, we're going to be joined by ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona to dig deeper into everything that unfolded in court today. But first up, Darla Miles with the recap from Lower Manhattan.
About 2 years into her relationship, Jane telling the court about a lack of courage she had expressing herself to Sean Diddy Combs. And before sending him a text message, she would draft them in her iPhone's Notes app. One from November 2022 reads in part, "Hey, I don't know why you're calling me for, but sorry, I don't want to do drugs for days and days and have you use me for your creepy, wild desires in hotel rooms." Also saying, "I'm done being used by you. I don't feel good around you." In her first full day of testimony, Jane telling the court about hotel nights lasting between 12 hours and 3.5 days. Drug-fueled sex encounters with male escorts, encounters called freak-offs during Combs' relationship with Cassie Ventura. Jane testifying, "I would just take a shower and get ready for the next one." Prosecutors asking, in a typical hotel night, about how many rounds would you go through? Jane responding, "I would say every night was different. Sometimes it would be 1 round with one man or 3 with another." Who decided how many entertainers you would be with in one night? Jane answering Sean. Jane at times sniffling during her testimony and taking long pauses to exhale. Prosecutors multiple times asking if she needs a break, but she pushed through with tears free-flowing down her face, talking about her birthday in 2023 when she thought it would just be the two of them. He was just so loving and sweet as always, and he said, "I'm so excited to see what the entertainment was tonight." I just gulped. I had this gulp moment like something was stuck in my throat, because I didn't expect that. Jane crying through her testimony about feeling compelled to have sex with 3 different men on her birthday, and right after that seeing Combs on a luxurious trip on his private plane with another woman he was seeing, texting him, "I don't ever want to do another hotel entertainer night with you. I didn't even want to do it on my birthday." Jane telling the court Combs was agitated and said they should just be friends. But after not talking to him for more than 2 weeks, he came back around, texting her, "Hello, hello, hello, good morning. What are you doing? You're taking it too far. Let me make it up to you."
Our thanks to Darla Miles, joined now by ABC News contributor Bernarda Villalona. So, again, really difficult testimony, even just reading the transcript. So much graphic detail about what she alleges happened. Take me to Jane on the first full day of testimony and what the prosecution is hoping she does for their case.
Yes, Mike. So I was in the main courtroom where Jane is testifying. And I tell you, when you read the transcript, it doesn't do it justice as being there, watching the testimony and looking at the jurors and seeing how people are reacting to it. Because it's a very quiet courtroom when Jane is testifying, actually when any witness is testifying, because you're not supposed to be making any faces or noises or responding to any of the testimony. But it's almost as if you can hear it's almost as you can hear if a pin drops. Wow. When she's testifying. When Jane was testifying today, for a majority of the time, she cried, she sobbed, and not just little tears. I mean, you could hear her gulp while she's crying because it was like directly right into the mic. And when she's testifying, she's not looking at the prosecutor. She's looking down at all times and answering the questions. But in terms of what the prosecution really accomplished today, they still have another day of full testimony expected on Monday. But today they walked the jury through the amount of times of these hotel nights, the amount of men that she engaged in these hotel nights, to the point I believe there was like at least 11 different men, multiple times, men that she still doesn't even know the name of or can't remember the name of. And she walked us through in terms of the amount of times that she would tell Sean Combs that she didn't want to engage in these hotel nights, that she just wanted a relationship with Sean Combs. She didn't want all of the other stuff. And that at times when he would go out to say, "I'm going to spend time with you," she would think that it's just time between the two, and all of a sudden it's another hotel night, another freak off. So it's like he would string her to come to the location. And when she gets to the location, all of a sudden we're engaged in another hotel night. So that's what we got through today.
She said that happened in Turks and Caicos, for instance.
Yes.
Where she goes down and she thinks this is going to be some romantic getaway, and she said what?
And she said that all of a sudden, guess what? It's one of the escorts that are coming, or one of the entertainers, that's what she calls it. One of the entertainers is there. And something that she had asked and told, like, okay, it's just going to be you and I, and all of a sudden there's another entertainer. But I think the prosecutor today, I will say this, Mike, I think they got a lot more streamlined today in terms of the charges. So in terms of racketeering conspiracy, today they focused on like the conspiracy itself, like who was assisting in setting up these rooms, who was assisting in getting the drugs. In fact, she said on 2 different occasions, Sean Combs had her go pick up drugs in LA from his house in LA from KK and the security, and then have those drugs, put it in her suitcase, check it in, and bring it to Miami. So here you were able to show the possession with intent to deliver and distribute in terms of the racketeering conspiracy, in terms of the predicate acts. You got to see a lot of the transportation to engage in prostitution. You got to see the money trail. So much they were able to bring out through the testimony today through Jane that I think was more streamlined than it was through Cassie. And
we've heard an evolution of how she describes the relationship going, because she said at the beginning when he first introduced this, what a lot of people would describe as a wild, sort of bizarre situation with the hotel nights, as she described it. She said it was exhilarating. And she said that she felt like it was something she'd never done before. She was doing it sort of in the privacy of that relationship, which is what she thought. But we saw the darker side today, and the crime is what the prosecution is alleging, where she says that she felt like she was trapped and couldn't leave. The interesting component to this, as we heard from the testimony today, is that he had been paying her rent. They negotiated $10,000. And he's still paying it?
He's still paying it. So that I think when that came out, I actually looked at the person that was next to me like, what? He's still paying her rent. So I want to see where the prosecution goes with that. I believe that on Monday that they are going to play, there's some kind of recording, and I'm just going based on the opening statement when the prosecutor said that after Sean Combs found out that he was being investigated, he tried to cover his tracks, and he even contacted one of the victims in the case and tried to sell her a different narrative, like, oh no, this is what it really was. So kind of trying to tamper with that witness. So I think the prosecutor may say that he continued paying the rent so as to have her not cooperate with law enforcement and to tailor her testimony here in court. We don't know, but we'll wait till Monday.
Because it's important to point out they were still in a relationship up until the point he was arrested.
Yeah, correct. In fact, in the month before, just a few weeks before he was arrested, they had a hotel night, a freak off. And actually on the day he was arrested, his hotel room was set up for a freak off. They had the light, there was baby oil, there was Astroglide. So the room, there was a bag with money, I believe it was $9,000. Remember, these are all things that are usually set for the freak offs. And I believe there was also a bag that also had narcotics. Remember, these are all things that both now Jane and also Cassie have said that these are the stuff that are needed for these freak offs.
Skipping ahead a little bit, but what will the defense try to do as they attack her story?
So the defense is going to go with this is a money grab because Jane testified, and again, now I'm just going to focus it from the defense side. Right. The defense is going to say that what she wanted was money. She wanted to have her bills continually paid. She wanted to maintain a lifestyle. And because she wanted to maintain that lifestyle, she stayed with Combs. There was nothing stopping her from leaving Combs. She stayed with Combs because she wanted her bills paid. She wanted to live in that lavish apartment that she still lives in till this day because Sean Combs is actually paying for that rent. Because what makes her different, and again, today is Friday, we haven't heard any violence from her and Cassie, is that there's no violence here. There's not someone that is beating you and threatening to say like, oh, if you leave me, I'm going to hurt you, or I'm going to release the sex tapes. You don't have that here with Jane. Here you have with Jane. Jane is saying it's like, I just wanted to please him. I loved him. I just wanted a relationship with him. I loved him so much. I didn't want to do those hotel nights. I just wanted quality time with him. Because the common theme through her testimony is that she just wanted to please her lover. She wanted to please the man that she was in a relationship with.
So much so that she, the way it was described, got jealous because he was off with a different person, a different girlfriend on a getaway, and she was upset because she wanted to be that person.
Yes. So she wanted to be, and interestingly enough, doing opening statement from the defense had already mentioned that Jane wanted the lifestyle of being that one person, being in a committed relationship. Like, she was jealous of Sean Combs, who had multiple women, that is the lifestyle that she wanted, where she wanted that quality time with that person. But even through testimony today, when she testified, she was like, he would use me for these hotel nights, and then I would see him on Instagram, again paraphrasing, on Instagram, having these lavish like dinners or trips with other women, but use me just for his freakish activity.
Which is what she alleged in the text messages.
Yes.
In real time, which is probably important to the case.
Very important. So in terms of real time, how about this? So, you know, in the iPhone, you got your notes section. So she will write lavish notes in her notes section describing how she felt and what she wanted to say to Sean Combs. And I mean detailed notes, because we heard of some of those notes. And then sometimes she will cut and paste it and send it as a text. And the prosecutor asked her, was like, why are you keeping these notes? So for her, she's like, well, you know, to go through my feelings, and if one day I had the courage so I can tell Sean Combs. But again, what's important is the dates. So you can't say it's recent fabrication that you're coming up with this lie now, because that is associated with the times that they were actually together.
Basically like a journal, like a real
journal. That's exactly what it was, a journal.
All right, wrapping up for this conversation, Bernarda, take me inside the courtroom today, because yesterday so much was made of Sean Combs' behavior and his facial expressions towards the jury. How was it inside there today? Oh,
today it was much different, much different. And Mike, I have been inside of the main courtroom where Sean Combs is, I think, for 95% of the trial. And today it's a difference between, it's night and day. Because usually, yesterday, before the judge said anything, Sean Combs will always look at the jury and nod hard when he's agreeing with something, or nod no when he disagrees with something. And the jury's right there. Remember, jurors,
they see it.
They of course they see it, because it's natural for a jury to, when they're hearing something that a witness says, and it's like, well, what do you have to say? Like, what's your facial expression? And the thing is that I saw why the judge did get upset, because it's either you're intimidating the jury or you're trying to convey something to the jury, and that's not testimony. You're not on the stand. You know, if you want to say your part, you take the stand. Don't try to communicate something.
And today it was better.
Completely.
All right, Bernarda, great to have you in as always, in your perspective, and we'll see what happens as we continue another week next week. As we say, court resumes on Monday, so stay with Eyewitness News and ABC 7NY for any new updates. And as you hear these conversations that we have in the evening, you can follow along as they're taking place, as stuff is unfolding in the courtroom, through a real-time blog. You can sign up for that right now and read that at ABC7NY.